There was once a priest who said when he goes to high schools to hear confession, one thing he likes to do is to have a tissue box next to the confessional. And many of us asked him, Father, I mean, do you make them cry? Like, what do you tell these kids? And he said, no, it's actually just to give them an example. In the middle of the confession, whenever there's a question that really comes up that's really mostly about love, and that I realize, he said, it's a struggle in chastity that has to do really with the issue of love, the fundamental issue of love. He says he takes a tissue, he excuses himself, he blows his nose, and he throws the tissue away, and he does it in kind of a very paused way, so it's clear. And at the end, after he hears the confession, he says, do you remember when I grabbed that piece of tissue, I blew my nose, and then I just threw it away? That was very useful for me at the moment. I had a need. My nose was running, and I needed to blow my nose. I blew my nose on that tissue, and I'm glad it was there, but as soon as I threw it away, I forgot about it. That's use. Use isn't a bad thing. We need things. We need things in life on a daily basis. But the difference between use and love is that love doesn't stop using, but uses in the order that God intended it to be, in which it's almost like a sacramental order of creation, in which not only creation, but those people that reflect God the most, which are human beings made in His image and likeness, no longer become just something that I could use and then dispose of. The connection is that I start recognizing that my interaction with others, even when it's something as simple as just needing them for a moment, it's actually an opportunity to encounter Christ. Be it in patience, maybe I encountered them and wow, this is a great challenge for my patience. Or I encountered them and maybe we didn't have a great personality click. And it doesn't mean I have to be everyone's best friend, but it means that every person really is an opportunity to encounter Christ in different moments, not only of his life, but of my own. Precisely because every person has that, in a sense, invitation to love them, to let ourselves be loved by them. And here's where the paradox comes in, I think. We often think, I think C.S. Lewis put this best in The Four Loves. He asked, who loves more? The child who needs his mother's breast milk in order to survive? Or the mother who's giving of herself to the child? And Lewis says in a beautiful way, he says both. Both. Because love is not only a gift that persists, it's a gift because there's a need. And if there was no need, that gift wouldn't have that fundamental sense that I've provided for you because I love you. And therefore, Lewis makes the argument that the baby actually creates an opportunity for the mother to also experience that sense of love, experience that sense of connection. And the distinction here is that the baby is not using the mother. The baby belongs to his mother in the relationship, in the connection. And this is the difference between something being used and someone that is loved. Sexual desire is a gift. God gave us this desire. And we experience this desire, this need, not only to connect with people, but to love. That gift is good. That desire is good. But it's not just something I can use. In terms of the inseparability of the body and the soul and the sacredness of the person, John Paul II says what we've experienced in our society is the separation between the body and the soul, so that I could actually have an act in my body. Just I did it. It didn't mean anything. It was a one-night stand, or sins of the flesh of other sorts, including this deep and superficial sense that the most important thing is my body. And then somehow the desire, which is ultimately created by God, which is in the soul, just becomes something else, something almost entirely different that just feels. And the body is just used. But because we're one reality, we're a reality that has two facets, a spiritual and a physical one. But we're one person. That aspect of John Paul II's theology of the body explores really what's at the heart of this question between love and something being used, which is ultimately our bodies are used only when we don't realize that they're fundamentally loved by God, that they're made for love. And therefore, we use our bodies and we use objects and we use other people's bodies as objects and as things when we don't recognize fundamentally the unity of the two. The desire, and then the way that desire is expressed in the body. And then the way and the desire are really one person. So the invitation is really, will I allow the Lord, who created me and fashioned me, in this unique gift of a spiritual and a material reality, to, by His grace, unite me more and more, to be His image more and more, so that I could completely love. So that my desire is no longer just something that I feel used by someone else, or someone else is being used by me, but that it is a unique encounter in which Christ makes Himself present in me and in them and through them. I think that would resolve a lot of questions of loneliness. People feel unloved because they're in a room filled with people, in a bar, in a club, maybe even at work. And what they're looking at are shells. But if they start looking at a person, there's an entire person there. And they start reawakening the sense that God gave me this gift so that I could find Him in others. Wow, that would be so different. What a transformation we would see.